Good afternoon from Darlington, South Carolina. NASCAR Camping World Truck Series qualifying from Darlington Raceway. Race number 7 of the season. After a week off following racing on the dirt at Bristol, we come to the Lady in Black, and there may not be a more challenging racetrack that we come to the entire season. Great to have you with us on this Friday afternoon, along with Phil Parsons and Michael Waltrip. I'm Vince Welch, and it is Darlington. And normally, all you got to do is say, it's Darlington. That says it all. Mike, what makes this place so challenging?
When I hopped out of my car when I got to Darlington Day, Vince, I thought, well, summer has arrived in Darlington, South Carolina. It's hot, and that just takes me straight to the Southern 500. The first time I ever ran that race and hitting these high banks for the first time, it's intimidating. And you know when you start getting scared about what you're going to do? About when you come through McBee, South Carolina, you clear that place, and then every minute that goes by, every mile, I just can't express, Phil, you know this, how challenging, how tough this place is to run around here at 170, 80 miles an hour.
Yeah, I was pretty good backing out of my garage stall, and then I got in trouble after that or whatever. But you know, it's funny because a few minutes ago, Michael and I were looking at this racetrack, and I said, Michael, I know it's wide enough for 2 trucks, but boy, it sure doesn't look like it from up here. Obviously, Vince, probably the most challenging racetrack that I've ever been on in my lifetime, and we've managed to make a lot of racetracks pretty challenging, but this one itself is challenging.
Well, before we qualify, we're going to get 30 minutes of practice, and believe me, there's a lot of teams anxious to get on track and get some practice time leading up to tonight's race here at Darlington. Dirt track racing on a Saturday night, Bristol style.
Have some fun, stay locked in all night long.
And we're racing on the dirt at Bristol. 4th stage win of the year.
It's really not bad. I'm having to flick it loose to make speed.
Crossover for the lead, Rhodes to the bottom.
Classic dirt slide job.
Ben Rhodes wins on the dirt at Bristol.
Going to victory lane. That's where I'm going.
Aggressive, confident, comfortable all weekend long. Rhodes is the winner at Bristol. The 6th career win for Ben Rhodes, the defending series champion. That was 2 weeks ago. And today, under a little bit of sunshine, but mostly overcast, 87 degrees. We're in Darlington, South Carolina for the beginning of a 30-minute practice session that will lead into qualifying. And that sets the lineup for the race later tonight.
These things are going to feel really good right now on these new tires, aren't they, Michael?
Yeah, and a little bit of cloud cover. I mentioned how hot and steamy it is here, but the cloud cover really gives you a little bit more grip, which just means, Phil, you got to drive even harder. You can tell how fast these trucks are going down into the corner. There's our format, Vince, that we're going to be working through over the next hour and a half here on FS1.
Talking to some of the drivers that have even been in the series a couple of years, and qualifying something different for them because we ran here twice last year, didn't get practice or qualifying either time.
What about that, mixing it up right off the bat? Eckes to the bottom, racing alongside
Brennan Poole in that 46 car, right? Or truck, I mean.
Yeah, that 46 truck had a Days of Thunder look to it.
Yeah.
We got some throwback paint schemes here today.
It's going to be a great weekend here in Darlington.
100%, Phil.
Eckes did not run here a year ago. You see him there in the 98, but he had a good showing back in 2020. He ran top 5. Mike was talking about the weather, and it's hot.
Look at that
track temperature. It should just say Darlington hot. 88, and
yeah.
The humidity feels like it's up there as well. That track temp you see.
I'm like you, Michael. We would come here for the Southern 500 in September, and I don't think it could be any hotter than anywhere but right here.
And earlier today, the sun was out, and it really was baking.
Yeah.
How does the hot track affect the handle of these trucks?
Just makes it go away sooner. If the conditions are cool and overcast, those Goodyear tires will stick longer, and you just run faster, Vince. And that's the balance at Darlington I find really interesting as we hop on board with Chandler Smith. Look at this ride. Let's forget that thought I was having and just watch this. This is beautiful. You hear him just laying in that throttle wide open up off turn 2. A bounce, a big bump off there makes it difficult to race side by side. hard to race side by side anywhere at Darlington, but when you have those transitions, it's a challenge.
But a fairly new patch of asphalt from just past the center of turn 1 and 2 to all the way off of turn 2. And a lot of drivers said, man, that feels so good, even on a little bit older tires, but everywhere else on the racetrack is slippery.
Michael, you used the term beautiful. Does it? It doesn't look all that beautiful to me. I mean, it looks really dicey to me. So explain that to me.
I just want to tell you, this is so funny in my mind. When you would come to Darlington, soon as you finish a lap and you ran pretty good, or you had a practice run, you come on the radio and say, that was really fun. That was really good. When you're doing it, there's nothing fun about it. I mean, every inch of the way, you're running just inches off of the wall. If it's cool and overcast, like I mentioned earlier, you just go faster. It doesn't make it any easier. Your truck just sticks a little bit better. Oh, man, it's a thrill ride.
That's Michael Waltrip, Phil Parsons. I'm Vince Welch up here in the booth, and down on pit road, keeping track of things, Josh Sims.
Yeah, guys, and the last time we saw Ben Rhodes, he was taking the checkered flag at the Bristol Dirt. Loved it so much that during that 2-week break, he was doing a ton of dirt racing over at Millbridge. He can't get this guy off the dirt, but today he's focused solely on Darlington. Remember, he won this race back in 2020, and he told me earlier on that day that he won, he kept telling himself, don't wreck. Don't wreck, and it worked out. He didn't wreck, and he got the win in that race. He says right now, with a win under his belt this season, it's all about big picture racing. So if he's got a top 5 truck today, he wants to finish in the top 5 and not do too much to get into trouble in this race, because he has to be smart, that is, given the schedule coming up with those 8 straight races, and that is the key for a lot of these teams out here with this tough stretch coming up, guys.
Vince just out ahead of Ben Rhodes. There's Chase Purdy in the 61, taking it back to DW. His final truck start back at Martinsville in 2005. I actually owned that truck. It was an honor to have my big brother drive for me. So Darrell was awesome in the booth at Bristol, and now he's getting to enjoy his last start in the truck series riding along with this cat out of Mississippi. Chase Purdy's a good dude. Does a great job behind the wheel of that Bama Buggy's Tundra. And see how he can see how well he figures it out here at Darlington.
Did you charge Darrell to drive that truck, or did you give
probably
him
had
that
to pay
ride
him? Yeah, probably had to pay him, didn't
He
you?
charged me.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But I want to tell you, Vince, the smile on his face that day made every dime of it worthwhile, because he just really loved being out there competing.
So much for brotherly love. Free brotherly love. Brotherly love ain't free, is it?
What about this paint scheme? Taking it back to Bill McAnally's old late model. Marking, Vince, I was talking to Bill down at pit road, 32 years of the relationship with Napa Auto Parts. That's just beautiful.
I was talking to Bill a few weeks ago when his team surprised him with this paint scheme for this truck, and he was so pleased and so honored that his guys thought enough of him to do this.
And, you know, Derek Kraus could taste victory here just a couple of years ago. You talked about the Ben Rhodes win. He was able to get around and put the move on that truck.
Take a look at this, guys. That's John Hunter Nemechek in the 4 truck coming off of turn number 2. He's running up on the 43 of Akinori Ogata. But then also there's going to be another slow truck right there, the 66 of Ty Majeski.
You just better have your antennas up at all times at Darlington, right, Phil? You never know what you're going to run across.
I think one of the biggest surprises of the season, we're 6 races in, and John Hunter Nemechek hasn't been to victory lane yet this season, but I get the feeling that we're kind of into the portion of the schedule that's right in his wheelhouse. We've got Darlington, we've got a 3.5 miles coming up. I expect him to go to victory lane maybe multiple times in this stretch.
Well, we talk in our production meeting about who's doing what, who's hot, who's not. John Hunter Nemechek hasn't won, but I would still make him one of my handful of championship favorites. I mean, he's leading laps. He's got a lot of speed. He will win, and it might just happen here tonight.
And they've turned it on here recently, too. 3 top 4 finishes, I think, in the last 3 races. So he's definitely on the right path towards victory lane again.
Yeah, and even though he hasn't won, he has the best average running position through 6 races this season. So let's take a look at this. Through 6 races, these are kind of the hots, if you will. Mike mentioned the hots and nots. Who would you, not necessarily who do you pick to win the championship, but who would you, out of this 4, pick as your championship favorite today?
That question gets harder every time you ask it, because there's 4 of them that I think I could say, but I'm going to go with Ben Rhodes. I loved his dominating performance at Bristol. He wheeled that truck. He had it hung out like a dirt late model.
did a great job over there. Obviously, knows how to get around this place with a win. I would say Ben Rhodes is my guy.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I really like the way that Zane Smith has started out there. You can see right there, he's had 5 top 10 finishes in the 6 races. He actually went across the line second in Las Vegas, but was penalized and disqualified because of the lug nut situation. So I can make a case for each one of these 4.
Is that our championship 4, or is there somebody in that group you don't think will make the...
Barring something unforeseen, I think that's our championship.
Those are our favorites for sure.
Yeah.
Hard to argue that. Practice, and you see up there in the upper left, 11 minutes plus remaining before qualifying at Darlington.
I love how we embrace the men and women of the military that are with us today and how we honor and respect those ones that have passed.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
This is a big event. This is a crown jewel that has tradition and history that surrounds it, and you feel that electricity.
I know we're racing tonight, but we're racing for them, for what they've done for us.
The Coca-Cola 600 Memorial Day weekend.
Have you been checking out the USFL? Good stuff. Action continuing tonight. Philadelphia Stars battling the Michigan Panthers. It's 10 o'clock Eastern on FS1 right here. Tomorrow, 7 Eastern on Fox. Todd Haley's Tampa Bay Bandits taking on Skip Holtz and the Birmingham Stallions.
Skip Holtz, he was on pit road at Talladega, having a lot of fun with some of his players. USFL is fun to watch.
Can I pick the Michigan Panthers as my team? I mean, I've loved the Lions for my whole lifetime, and they've broken my heart a few times.
Yeah, might as well move on.
Yeah.
Let's go all USFL on.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm a Birmingham Stallion myself.
All right, good.
How about Todd Bodine back for more as he pursues 800, Josh?
Yeah, first time Todd Bodine is back in the truck since Vegas. And he told me before practice started at Vegas, he was nervous before he got back in the truck. But today, no nerves. He had all smiles because he loves Darlington, a place he won back in 2010. And he's feeling good about this race right now because he says for him, it's all about having fun. If the wins come, great. But all about having fun right now. He says he's too tight up in turn 4, so they just made an adjustment before he went back out there.
14th quickest on the chart. Todd, by the way, the oldest driver to win in this series here at Darlington. When he won back in 2010, he was 46.
Wow, he's getting on up there then, isn't he?
He's about 12 years older than that now, right?
So when he says if the wins come, it was his phrasing according to Josh, is it too much of an expectation that Todd Bodine could win one of these races he's running?
I'm telling you, I know he's not nervous, but I just feel like as those years go by and these young kids have lap after lap after lap, and you've been sitting on the sidelines doing some great work for Fox Sports 1. He's a great FSI guy, and you can really understand that he knows exactly what to do. But can you still do it when you're getting up there around 60 years old? I noticed I lost a step or two the older I got.
I think if there's anywhere he's going to be able to do it, because of his experience, this racetrack, I think this may be his best opportunity because he was so good here at this racetrack.
I think it's
go ahead.
Sorry, Vince, but I think the interesting thing, Phil, is how you balance that. You know, I talked about the kids and how wild they are and how fast they are. You know, when you're an experienced veteran, you say, wow, that looks a little bit dangerous. I better back off of it a little bit here. And does that change your mentality?
We're in the midst of a record run of drivers under the age of 25 or younger winning races in this series. 13 straight. That's more than any other time in the history of the series. I mean, it really is a kids, young drivers series now, isn't it?
It is, and there's a young driver, Spencer Boyd, in that beautiful number 12 truck.
How about that? Tell us about that ski, Michael.
That's the old Hawaiian Punch Pontiac. I ran here in 1986 in that car. Got one around.
Colby Howard has gone around over in turn 2.
So that was a great memory, Vince. I talked about the Southern 500 and how hot and crazy Darlington is. Back in the 80s in a cup car. Harry Gant,
we'll come get you or change the tire. How are you?
Harry Gant, Dale Earnhardt comes swinging by you. You think, wow, this is really fun. And then they drive a straightaway away in about a lap. And you're like, well, where'd they go?
and then they're back again in a few laps.
Wow, those memories are great.
Here's Colby Howard. He was 6th fastest before this spin. Well, he's still 6th fastest, but giving you an indication that he'd been having a pretty good session.
He stayed with it as long as he could. Really did a nice job of not letting that truck get into the outside wall or down into the inside wall.
That was a perfect save. He did a great job of just managing what went wrong and getting that thing back to pit road without any dents in it. Colby Howard can drive one hung out. We've seen that before. Daytona, he was all loose but was hanging on. He's a really talented young racer.
He did a great job, speaking of driving it hung out, at Bristol. He finished a career best 12th in that race, so bringing a little confidence with him here to Darlington.
He was 13th here last September.
How about some radio from Grant Enfinger?
You know, running the top, yeah. Majority's falling to black through the bottom at 3 and 4. I mean, there's a couple guys that kind of run up to the top. Okay. After Charles gets happy, the last 4 or so laps, I'd like to just move around just so you know.
And that's exactly what you do at Darlington. You heard the spotters say they're down in the black, the rubber down on the low part. But I've also seen drivers up in the white where there isn't any rubber laid down. But Darlington, that's the balance. You can make either one work depending on how your truck is handling, whether you want to go right out next to the outside wall, risky, and they're going to do that before the night's over, or you want to stay down in that darker part, the safer ride around the road, which is lower.
And so many racetracks, when we talk about running the bottom or the top, we're talking about 40 feet in between. The difference between running the bottom here and running the outside is about 8 feet. I mean, so you have to be able to run against that outside wall here. And that's why we coined the phrase years ago, the Darlington stripe, because nobody is exempt from getting a stripe here.
And he was having that conversation with the spotter Mike Herman Jr. and the Charles he mentioned. When Charles gets happy is his crew chief. So when they take care of the things that the crew chief has to check off on the list, then Grant would like to move around a little bit. And he's good here. He's been top 6 in all 3 of his starts. And I know they've been searching for some speed yet this season. But this is a place that is good for Grant Enfinger.
So can we make Charles happy, though, do you think?
Well, probably not.
Let's ride along with Grant here. We're going to have one of our onboards. Only 2 minutes left in this practice session.
How many times you've been set down on pit road over the years, Phil, and NASCAR's got the red flag out. You're waiting for something to be cleaned up. You're just desperate to get one more lap in, a couple laps to see if that change indeed helped the truck or not. That's what Grant was faced with as he waited to get this run in. Hi, Charles.
Charles Benike, the crew chief for Grant Enfinger.
Grant has 10 laps on his tires right here, so they will be at least a half a second off the pace, more than likely, with 10 laps.
Well, John Hunter Nemechek's our fastest driver in this practice so far at 29.60. He lost nearly 2 seconds in 20 laps. So the math says maybe a little bit more than a half second, 10 laps into the run, but you can learn so much about when you're an experienced veteran like Grant Enfinger. You can learn about the direction of your truck and what you need for it to be better as those tires do wear down.
Well, Grant was telling me earlier today that he felt like qualifying was very important because track position at the start of the race, good track position enables you to be in a better position to get stage points at the end of stage 1. They need those points. They're currently below the cut line, and speed has not been their friend so far this season. As you look at Carson Hocevar, good-looking truck.
That's a great-looking truck there.
Runner-up at Bristol a couple of weeks ago, and another one who's been good here at Darlington.
Yeah, 30 years ago, and that young man impresses me everywhere we go.
That was his first time ever seeing this racetrack. Remember, he just turned 18 before the season started last year.
It was the first race for Hocevar and crew chief Phil Gould, and Phil was telling me earlier today that as they were standing out on the grid prior to the race last year and the national anthem was playing, and Hocevar comes up getting ready for the anthem, and he's looking at something on his phone, and he said, kids, I mean, he's 18, he's probably looking at some social media, and I said, what are you looking at on your phone? And he said, I'm looking at onboard footage from last year's race, trying to learn a little something about a line. And Phil Gould said right then, I think we've got a guy that we really want to go to bat with, and Carson Hocevar is not disappointed.
Yeah, for sure.
Plus, he brings a strong hat game to the race.
The red and black waves, so that 20-minute practice session is complete. You see John Hunter Nemechek fastest of the bunch. Josh?
Yeah, and for an update on Matt Crafton, he said coming to the track today, he just hasn't felt like they've had the speed they needed, or they showed some speed in practice just then. They did have some issues, said he was too tight on turn 4, and noted that the truck is also hitting the skirts pretty bad, so they did make a left rear shock adjustment, hoping it'll make Matt Crafton a little happier heading into qualifying.
Well, we're about to find out. Single lap qualifying just ahead from Darlington. Who's going to start from the pole later tonight? We're about to settle it.
At a Darlington throwback race, memory lane has no speed limit, and the prospect of a Darlington stripe lurks around every corner.
Oh, it's on from here.
Hey, they don't call it the track too tough to tame for nothing. The Goodyear 400 at Darlington, Sunday at 3:30 on FS1.
Back at Darlington, NASCAR Camping World Truck Series just finished up a 20-minute practice session and getting ready now for qualifying single lap. Here's the top 10 from our qualifying session. You know, Grant Enfinger had told me earlier today they felt like they'd been down on speed. Well, pretty good to be second on the list in practice. That's got to be pleasing.
Well, you mentioned how good he is. There, what, three times here, 3 top 6 finishes for Grant. No surprise for Ross Chastain to be up there. Ross has been so good. What a great story he's been this year in NASCAR.
And speaking of John Hunter being fastest, he's with Josh.
Yeah, John Hunter Nemechek showing speed during that first practice session. How do you transfer that over to qualifying and then, most importantly, the race?
We have a really fast Mobil 1 Toyota Tundra TRD Pro, so thank you to all the guys here at KBM. They worked really hard on this piece and came back with something similar that we had last year. We ran really, really fast here last year. Should have won both races, but got away from us. So trying to redeem ourselves. I think qualifying is going to be pretty interesting. I think that you're going to see different line choices in 3 and 4 and how everybody uses that to their advantage of what their truck has. And luckily we go out second to last, so hopefully I can learn a little bit of something. But hopefully we'll get the race in tonight and we can go whack some, start up front, and do the best that we can.
John Hunter Nemechek looking to transfer that speed over from practice to qualifying.
Yeah, running double duty this weekend, too, running in the Xfinity Series race tomorrow. You know, we talked about John Hunter being part of the Who's Hot list. How about maybe the Who's Not list? And, you know, Grant Enfinger, best finish 8th. I think we expected more from him through the first 6 races. I know he expected more from him.
We thought he would be on that list of maybe championship contenders, and still could be. Obviously, it's pretty early in the season. At least he's headed in the right direction his last 3 times out, top 10 finishes.
Yeah, and we don't see Matt DiBenedetto on that list, too. So there's plenty of guys and girls that can hop up there and make a statement throughout this next month of racing. 4 straight races. Vance, you talked about the size of tracks we're on. Anything can happen when we go to Kansas, Texas, Charlotte. Those are big, wide-open tracks. We'll see who does get the work done.
Yeah, Crafton has a win. Of course, so many wins on the 1.5 miles, but a win at our next stop in Kansas. Single lap qualifying next. Keep it here all weekend on Sunday here on FS1. It's Throwback Week at the track. Too tough to tame. Memory lane, no speed limit of the Goodyear 400 here at Darlington. Coverage begins Sunday at 2 o'clock Eastern on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. Looking forward to it.
Throwback cars. What a great weekend here in Darlington, South Carolina.
Let's go downstairs to Josh.
Yeah, and it's always a special weekend when it's Throwback Weekend at Darlington Stuart Friesen. You got a pretty awesome paint scheme for your truck out here tonight.
Yeah, for sure. It's a cool honor. Jack Johnson, Northeast Dirt Modified driver, and we got his son Ronnie with us here, so it's pretty cool. Truck looks awesome. We got some decent speed. I think we're a little bit better in long run trim than we are short run. But big thanks to Sean and Billy Beckhorn for their donation to AIM Autism. It was their idea to do the Jack Johnson throwback, and there it is. It looks beautiful. Proud to represent those guys, and big thanks to Halmar and everybody as well.
And you got Todd Bodine back out here. What advice did you give him for the second race of the season?
He gave me a lot of advice. We were able to do some simulator work together yesterday, and this is his track, you know, so he's got some speed. He fires off first here for qualifying, so we'll see what he can lay down.
There you go. All right. Appreciate your time and good luck.
race a little bit every now and then, and it's so funny how much you look forward to these moments. And when you're sitting down there right now, you're thinking, I'm not sure, why did I sign up for this?
And why do I have to be the first truck out for qualifying?
What is going to happen? We were talking to Stefan up at Dover, your son. He was the first out for Xfinity qualifying, and you talking about being committed, Vince. When you leave pit road at here or at Dover, either one, it's a handful, and these guys, they know just that.
Todd Gilliland and Zane Smith, the former Front Row Motorsports driver in the Truck Series, now up on the Cup level is Todd Gilliland, and there's Zane Smith, the current driver, now occupying the seat of that 38.
And what a job he's done this year, Zane Smith. Wow.
Couple of wins, leads the playoff standings, and just 22 years old. Got engaged while we were
just
away
this week, wasn't it? Just this week?
Yeah.
What did you say earlier, Vince? One bump in the road for Zane, and that's when he finished. Had some
second.
Issues.
Finished second across the line.
Disqualified.
Yeah.
Afterwards.
That's crazy what a season they put together, and it doesn't matter where we go. He's just hauling. Here we go.
Todd Bodine, and if by chance you're not familiar with the story, two-time series champion, been retired for a while or away from the driver's seat for a while, but decided he wanted to come back and get to 800 career starts. So he's got 6 starts on the schedule this year that will get him to the number 800. Began at Vegas, of course, running here this weekend today at Darlington. He's got Texas, Sonoma, Nashville, and Pocono on the schedule.
Some great numbers in the Truck Series for this two-time champion.
He won't be faced with anything more challenging than this lap right here in this 6-race run. Sound like he took it wide open through turn 1.
Pedaling just a little bit, but back down.
Oh, see that bump? Made that truck want to hop into the outside wall. Does a nice job hanging on to it.
Let's see what Todd can run. He ran about a 30 flat in practice.
36 trucks qualifying here today, and they'll all make the show. 36 spots to race tonight.
Good lap. 29.51 for Todd.
How about that? A good 10th, about almost a 10th quicker.
That's the fastest lap we've seen today. Faster than the lap that John Hunter ran. Again, John Hunter was in race trim when he ran that 29.60. Now Todd qualifying trim 29.51.
And Todd's going to get a check out really quickly here how good that lap was, because Ross will lay one down. You see sideways there into turn 1.
How about Ross Chastain and what he has done at the Cup level this season? Already a couple of Cup wins and arguably the hottest driver in the series. Good to have him down here with the truckers.
I was going to say, if he keeps that, Todd Bodine kept him in the red for his lap, Todd would be really happy about his lap. Still a good lap for Todd, and that lap by Ross validates that.
Great turn 3 and 4 for Ross. He was actually tracking behind Todd when he got down into turn number 3. Got back to the throttle really quick and gained that time back.
I'm glad to say, great job, Todd Bodine.
Yes,
that's a good lap he put down. Ross just a little bit better.
Here's Brennan Poole, 31-year-old from the Woodlands, Texas.
I mentioned earlier a little Days of Thunder inspired paint scheme on Poole's truck. It's a good looking ride.
30th fastest in practice. But with everybody getting an opportunity to make the show, you just want to make sure you don't make a mistake here in qualifying. He's going to make his second start of the season.
Mistake free, 30 flat. That's reported.
Nothing wrong with that.
Quite a bit quicker than he ran in practice. As you look now at the 43 of Akinori Ogata.
He's been running the local racetrack at Hickory, North Carolina. Won a couple times this year. And I'm telling you, people used to say when we were growing up, if you can run good at Hickory, you can run good anywhere. And Ogata has got a couple wins already so far this year at Hickory.
48-year-old from Japan.
It's got a Mike Skinner look to it, doesn't it?
It does. It does. Back for Bill Davis, right? Back the 5 truck for Bill Davis.
He was second quickest in practice, Josh, Grant Enfinger.
Not only that, but every time you race here, you finish in the top 10, Grant, so you got to feel good and confident about not only qualifying, but the race.
Yeah, definitely. I love coming to Darlington. I'm so glad the Camping World Truck Series comes back here now. I feel like we have a pretty good Champion Power Equipment Chevrolet for tonight. We unloaded a pretty good balance. It's Darlington, so you're never going to be all the way happy. But I'm really excited about tonight, really excited about this 8-race stretch. I think we're finally starting to hit our stride and understand the direction we need to go with our Chevrolets, and I think we're going to get there starting tonight.
A lot of confidence for Grant Enfinger looking for that first win of the season.
Yeah, Grant said something interesting there in the interview with Josh, talking about finding their direction. And early in the season, I think they were searching, and they've tried some different things, have learned a few different things, and I think they believe that they're at least pointed in the right direction now.
Yeah, and this is a mature team. This is GMS Racing, who had a bunch of trucks very, very competitive last year. And, Zane Smith finished second in the point championship for GMS. And you would think it would just be a matter of just plugging those setups in and going, but it doesn't work that way. The sport changes so rapidly, and the setups change. Anytime the tire's a little bit different, that changes the setup, and that's what he's talking about. They feel like they have a direction now to go, because every tire this year is new from what these guys ran last year.
Here's Chris Wright.
Chris is putting together a decent lap here. Looks like about midway of the 6th that are on.
But a Ron Hornaday throwback to the KHI days.
I saw Ron down in the garage area earlier today.
He kicked it on down.
29.78. Good job.
Yeah, he kicked it down to the 29s pretty good there.
Yeah, good job.
That brings us to the 0-2. Jesse Little looking to make his 4th start of the season. Going to run about a dozen races for Young's Motorsports.
Love to see the Shriners Children's Hospital on board this truck. This is their 100th anniversary of taking care of children, and never does a parent get a bill when they go to the Shriners Children's Hospital.
I was surprised to read this stat. This is the first time he'd raced a truck here. Jesse,
yeah, me too.
Made some infrequent starts in the truck series, so I'm sure he's enjoying this opportunity and runs a really solid lap.
Great lap for Jesse.
Yeah, I think he's had a few Xfinity Series starts, but first time in the truck. Good to have him with us for race number 4 of the season on his schedule. Josh?
And Tom Majeski showed a lot of speed, P3, during practice. How do you carry that over to qualifying and then the race?
Well, it always helps when you unload good with good speed, right? Joe and all the guys at ThorSport done a great job bringing me a really fast farm paint Toyota Tundra TRD Pro. Like I said, it just makes everything go a lot smoother when you unload with good speed. So we'll make a couple of qualifying adjustments here and see if we can get ourselves some track position early on in this one. Track position's super important here at Darlington.
Thanks and good luck.
Danny Bone
in that 20 truck as they are recognizing Lyme disease and tick-borne diseases. And in fact, Danny Bone has Lyme disease, contracted as a child, and something he is very familiar with and passionate about.
Yeah, I was reading his story. It's really interesting. Going back to Daryl's 1981 paint scheme there with the 20 truck and raising awareness for Lyme disease.
How about Lawless Allen in the 45? Out of that Nice Motorsports camp. Season best 11th. In fact, that was his career best back at COTA on the road course.
That's got to feel good to get your career best finish, having a decent season, getting his legs under him, and now here we are at the Lady in Black.
Probably going to be a sub 30-second lap.
It is.
Yeah, good lap.
This is fun, Phil, watching these guys get it done this afternoon.
Fastest is Ross Chastain, Zane Smith, and Parker Kligerman among those yet to come.
There's a reputation on the track, one that screams, bring it, loud enough so the whole world will see it coming. I am the NASCAR Xfinity Series. I am NASCAR.
Back at Darlington, the track too tough to tame. Somebody's going to try to, and I would say somebody's going to succeed in
somebody is going to tame it tonight.
Later tonight.
And she's going to tame some other.
Yes,
for sure.
Yes, it will be a mixed bag for sure. As you see, she'll
have more that she tame than that tame her.
She's going to have some fun.
Yes,
and it's always.
And why is it a she? I mean, I know it's the Lady in Black, but why? I mean, something so mean. Why do we call
like
that
cars?
a lady?
Cars are always referred to as ladies, right? I mean, aren't cars in general given women's names?
I think it's 50-50.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's boy named cars and girls.
Yeah.
This is a replica of a car that wasn't too friendly at times to people. Dale Earnhardt would. He could get your attention.
The man in black.
He knew how to tame the lady in black too.
Josh.
And I'm down here with the newly engaged Zane Smith. What did you learn during practice that can help you for qualifying in the race later on?
Well, with our 20 minutes, I tried to learn as much as we could, but I'm fighting a super tight truck currently. I think a lot of other guys are as well, so that made me feel a lot better. But unfortunately, we don't have a throwback, but good thing is our Freight Auctions F-150 looks really good, so hopefully we can put it up front and just stay up there and stay out of trouble and have a good night.
Zane Smith looking for win number 3 on the season.
You know, Vince, when you hit the track here at Darlington and you're tight, in other words, the front end doesn't want to turn as good as you're asking it to, that's a comfortable feeling. I mean, the walls are right by the groove, so if it gets too tight, obviously, that's bad trouble. But you can get that truck better and better when you start out a little tight and just start getting it more and more torn loose. And I believe, Phil, we've learned over the years that as it gets cooler tonight, the sun goes down, if you're a little tight, it's going to want to turn better on that fresher or that cooler asphalt, which will play into their hands.
Yeah, I think whichever end gets to the more grip first, and in this case, the front end gets there, so that may play right in their hands if they're a little bit tight right now.
Good lap for Jack Wood. Currently trending 3rd quickest. Had a good conversation with him earlier today in the garage, and they really need to get things turned around. It's been a tough start to the season for the rookie in the GMS camp.
It has zero luck this year, it seems like. It seems like anything that can happen has happened to Jack and that team this year. But a good lap for him, though, 29.56.
Yeah, 4th best. How about the 12 of Spencer Boyd? We saw him earlier and referenced Michael's Hawaiian Punch scheme from the mid-'80s. What year was that? 85? 86?
Yeah, it was my rookie season.
That's a good-looking truck. They did a nice job replicating your paint scheme.
I brought him the very car I raced here in '86, Vince. We took it over to his shop and took some pictures with it and put the car by the truck. It was pretty fun. Throwback weekend's a good time for everybody. I know you got one coming up in the Xfinity Series, Phil, that you're going to be proud of. Stefan's driving a replica of one of your cars from the 80s.
Yeah.
How cool is that? Your son driving the throwback scheme that you drove. That is very neat.
Really
Congratulations.
cool. And he did it all on his own, too. That was all his doing, so I appreciate that very much.
Xfinity race tomorrow. Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano in the booth with Adam Alexander.
Ryan Preece hits the track here.
Bounce and got away from him there momentarily.
A couple of starts this season in the Truck Series for Preece, and both top 10s with a 4th best at Las Vegas.
He made a pretty good debut last year in the Truck Series. Won his first ever start at Nashville, and look at climbing up the board here. Looks like tracking right now 2nd to Ross.
Nicely done. 2nd quickest for Ryan Preece.
Just a couple hundredths of a second off of Ross Chastain. I'm thinking, Phil, still thinking they're going to go down toward that 29 flat bracket. Maybe a 29-20. Is that what you said?
I think so. I think they're going to get down there for sure.
Here's the 25. It's Matt DiBenedetto.
What a great look. Michael and I were talking earlier, which was some of our favorite paint schemes. And by the way, a great lap going for Matt DiBenedetto. But I think this may be one of my favorites, an old Sterling Marlin throwback from his time spent with Felix Sabates and Chip Ganassi.
Wow, this is a real heater.
Well, and you talk about guys that need a good break. DiBenedetto is one of those on that list. I mean, they have not had much go right for them. 3 finishes of 30th or worse this season, and they have been much better. You opened up with those good runs at Daytona and Vegas, and then it has been nothing but hard luck for DiBenedetto.
Heck, he got stuck together with another truck at Bristol. How does that happen?
Literally, yeah.
I mean, that was crazy, and that just sort of summed up his season so far, but certainly the potential. And I'm really not surprised by our top 3 right now, Phil. DiBenedetto, veteran, Chastain, Ryan Preece. That's the kind of drivers you think will fare well here. And add Corey Heim to that list, not because of the fact that he's 2nd fastest so far, but just how he performed in his debut here a year ago.
Yeah, he was in the mix to possibly win that race, a restart on the front row late in the race. Got collected up in an accident.
Take him to the top.
Fastest.
Goes to the top of the board.
Has not raced since Atlanta, where he parked it in victory lane.
That's been an impressive run for that young man.
What I really enjoyed about Heim, though, in that situation, even though he hasn't been racing the last 3 races, he's still been traveling with Kyle Busch Motorsports and that 51 group, going to the track, sitting on the box, still soaking it in, learning, and continuing to grow as a race car driver, awaiting his next opportunity, which comes today.
And ran the ARCA race at Talladega just a short while ago and had a great run there. Certainly in contention to win. That race ended early, but Corey with a top 5 finish there.
Speaking of winning at Talladega, Tate Fogelman.
Yes.
He knows how to do that.
He certainly did.
Didn't get to go to victory lane, had to go to the hospital, but you get the trophy. It all counts.
They eventually gave him the trophy, though.
Ended up 15th after a pretty sizable wiggle during his qualifying lap. Here's Tyler Ankrum, one of those drivers we had on the kind of needs to get it going list. Just a couple of top 10s. They were 31st at Bristol. Do you throw out, I mean, you can't really throw out the dirt race. I mean, it counts points. It's a result at the end of the season, just like all the rest. But it's a little different because it's dirt.
If you have a bad finish, you throw it out. If you have a good finish like Ben Rose, then you count it.
They're spoken like a true driver.
They're going to count it for sure.
Well, Ankrum would have liked to have thrown it out, but he likes this qualifying lap. Well done, 29:45. Some big hitters yet to come at Darlington. When NASCAR first raced here in 1950, it was the first NASCAR race on a paved oval.
And when I raced here for the first time in '83 in a dash car, you could run, as a 4-cylinder, you could run wide open around here, and it was really easy. And in 1950, I won't say it was easy, but it certainly probably wasn't quite as intimidating as it is today, running 180 miles an hour down into these turns. This place, it hasn't changed, but the cars have, and the degree of difficulty has gone way up.
You remember I think after 1970, they actually widened this track. This track used to be half this wide as far as the banks, with half this wide. And that's, those guys would run around, they had 1 lane wide and run around with these cars against the outside wall, and they would put 4x4s in the side to keep them beating in on the fenders. And that's where the Darlington Stride came from.
Where'd you finish in that 1950 race?
Fourth. It was fourth. Had a good car. It was a Hudson Hornet. It was a Hudson Hornet. That's mean, Vince. That's really mean.
Dean Thompson finishes his lap there, 30.65. Next on the road,
be the one of Haley Deegan.
Yeah, she's kicking it back to Bobby Allison, right?
I like it. I like it a lot.
Remember the country music album? Watch out for the Matador. That's what Bobby Allison had Matador there for a bit in NASCAR.
I remember Bobby winning here in that Matador for Roger Penske.
I was taking a good look at this truck down in the garage area earlier today, and it is a beauty.
Yeah,
they did a really nice job with this. Josh?
Yeah, down here with Matt Crafton. And Matt, I asked your teammates earlier what the throwback scheme was for ThorSport. They said you were the throwback. But more importantly, I know you were battling some things during practice. How you feeling about the truck?
We just work on the balance of it, and you have that 20 minutes, so you better make the best of it. So we were a little snug during practice, so we just kept working on it. Didn't want to run a long run because this place tears the tires up so much. But all in all, I think we're going to be all right. And look, lap tracker, we're okay. But how about that throwback scheme? I mean, it looks good, though, don't it? But at the end of the day, if you think about it, like, this is a throwback. Because, I mean, I was racing the same truck paint scheme 10 years ago. And some of these trucks I'm seeing out here, I raced them 10 years ago. So ours is really a throwback.
It makes perfect sense to me. Just convince your teammates, Matt. Convince them.
That's just
good luck.
A natural throwback there for Matt Crafton. He's probably one of the only guys old enough to 100% throw it back to themselves in the truck series.
He and Bodine, I guess, are, the real throwbacks. Good stuff. Derek Kraus, there you see 6th fastest. Good run for Derek.
Really tight up there at the top. You see Corey Heim in the 30s, but then several trucks in the 40s, a couple in the 50s.
Timmy Hill, sporting that 56, finished 7th here last spring.
lap time here is made by making sure you get up to speed too. You know how important that is, Phil. When you leave pit road, you know, you got to have that thing wound up when you hit turn 3 to come to get the green. You do a good job coming to get the green, it just makes your lap even better yet. So these drivers are challenged from the time they leave pit road and go through the gearbox all the way to the checkered flag.
11th for Timmy Hill. This is the first of 8 straight weeks at the racetrack for this series. How challenging is that for this group?
That's a lot. I talked to a lot of the crew chiefs down in the garage area, and they have this truck, you know, planned out to run somewhere else, whether it's going to run at Charlotte or whether it's going to run at Gateway later on, or maybe even Texas in a couple of weeks. So they can ill afford having some issues here, and we don't get through these races at Darlington without having some issues.
We always have issues in the truck still. I don't care where we go.
Chase Purdy on track. Back down to Josh.
Well, here with the hottest driver in the Cup Series comes down to the trucks, and third fastest on the board. You got to be feeling good about your truck, huh?
I do, man. Feeling better. I'm drinking this ice cold Coca-Cola. Getting ready for throwback weekend here. I felt like my lap was terrible. Super excited to have Worldwide Express, and as fast as their shipping is, that lap felt slow to me. So to still be, where are we? Somewhere up there, top 3. Probably going to fall here with these late guys, but still proud of the effort from Nice Motorsports. Bringing a 5th truck is no easy task. So Al Nice, Cody Efall, you know, hopefully all 5 trucks have a good night, and whenever we race, I don't know.
Feels like a good start to the day when you don't feel fast, but you're third fastest on the board for Ross Chastain.
Well, and Ross kind of making light of the potential for weather later tonight. The forecast, a little roll of the dice.
We'll get it in.
Yep.
We'll get it in.
Going to be optimistic as you see Colby Howard slotting into the top 10 position. Been an impressive day for Howard. Was good in practice, did have that spin, but kept it off the wall, didn't damage anything, and now a top 10 qualifying position currently. Here's Tanner Gray.
Yeah, takes the green flag there, and that Jerry Baxter led team. Talk to those guys down on pit road, confident about where they are, feel good about this racetrack, and
look at this lap, Michael.
And I guess the confidence is just, I mean, it's showing how good that truck is.
They really got off to a great start this season. 4th at Daytona, followed it up with another top 5 at Las Vegas, 8th at Atlanta. Have fallen off a little bit since with their results, but a pretty solid qualifying effort for Tanner Gray.
Just missed turn 4 there a little bit. I think got in maybe a little deeper than he wanted to. You could see the truck slide up the top of the racetrack, and he was really high leaving. And man, he went from first fastest going into turn 3 to 8th when he got to the start.
Still got to be encouraging they've got that kind of speed, though, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what you know, when your driver as a crew chief team, you're a little disappointed in the result, but you like the fact that he was going for it. You know, he had the fastest time into turn 3, pushed it a little harder than he should, but you certainly like to see the effort.
Ty Majeski trending fastest, and Majeski, I laughed with him a little bit earlier this morning that he's
sideways.
Happy to get back on the pavement after running the dirt at Bristol a couple of weeks ago.
Did he sideways it all the way to the pole?
Wow, how about that?
29-15 for Majeski. Wow, what a lap.
29-15. T1.
Imagine what he would have run if he wouldn't have had that big slide.
Let's watch this. He's way low on the track, the opposite of where we've seen a lot of the other truckers running sideways, but I don't think his foot ever came out of it, Phil.
Yeah, he was able to finish the corner off where Tanner Gray wasn't able to, but Majeski stayed in the throttle and did it.
Wow. Now on board with Chandler Smith out of the Kyle Busch Motorsports camp.
See Chandler way down. He had an issue before we actually saw him.
Trying to cut that low line, but it just didn't work there for him. Chandler's going to be disappointed in this run.
Yeah, he had trouble down in 1 and 2 before he ever got to the back straightaway.
On the list of things I didn't see coming,
this was one of them.
19th for Chandler Smith.
And away she goes.
Whoa.
Nice save.
Yeah. Yeah. Never had a chance. No. Got into turn 1. Tried to just roll off the gas gently as he entered there, but the truck just didn't want any of it.
Yeah, you talk about commitment. He was committed to getting through 1 and 2. Unfortunately, the truck didn't respond.
Still some fast ones to come. Stay tuned. Qualifying from Darlington. The sun trying to poke out here at Darlington. 84 degrees. Is that Hall of Famer, Ron Hornaday Jr.
I think he grew those sideburns since he was a 4-time Truck Series champion.
Yeah, when you're the Hall of Famer, you can do whatever you
Absolutely.
want. Right? On board with Grant Enfinger was second quick in practice.
Wow. That was a hot lap.
Never came clear out of it, did he?
Yeah, I like that.
9 to go in qualifying, including Enfinger.
He's going to back out down in this end.
A lot. Will he run that low line like we saw Majeski do?
He's on the lower part of the banking anyway.
Nice.
It'll be a great lap.
How about that? Second quickest for Enfinger.
1/100th of a second. Where could that be? Grant's thinking, where did I leave that?
You mean to tell me I was 1/100th of a second off?
Well, fast trucks after fast truck coming up here in these final 8 with Crafton and Zane Smith, Kligerman, Friesen, Hocevar, Eckes, Nemechek, Rhodes, all yet to come. So can anybody beat Ty Majeski's 29:15? Here's his teammate at ThorSport, Matt Crafton.
I love this guy said that he's the throwback. Crafton himself is the throwback.
45 years old, 3-time series champ. But no top 5s yet this season, and not going to be particularly pleased with this qualifying effort. Oh, 4th, not bad. Not bad.
It's funny, all this talk about running wide open, Phil. I was standing down at coming into turn 1 here one year with Terry Labonte, and I said, are you going to run wide open through 1 and 2, which was 3 and 4 then? He said, Mike, if I'm not at Daytona or Talladega, when I get to the corner, I lift. That's just my rule. And so no is my answer. And it's funny, back in the day when we didn't have data, did you run wide open? Oh, yeah. You probably did it. You might have been making some of that up.
Why are your brakes smoking?
You can't lie about it these days, can you?
No more. Every move is traced.
Well, Zane Smith creeping up the pylon with his qualifying lap. Currently sits 3rd for the series playoff leader. With 2 wins, the only driver in the series with a pair of victories so far.
I talked earlier about DiBenedetto, Chastain, Ryan Preece, and how good they were early in qualifying, but now look at our truckers just piling on, putting those trucks up in the front of those experienced veterans. It shows you how tough this series is.
A little wiggle there for Parker Kligerman. Here's a part-timer that can get it done when he gets in a truck.
A couple of top 5s this season, including 4th 2 weeks ago at Bristol.
I tell you, we've got a great weekend of throwback racing. I want to see these new Cup cars come off that second turn over there and hit those bumps and see what the Cup drivers or how they're going to deal with that. A lot of eyeballs going to be watching these truckers tonight to see how this race goes.
29:43. That's 7th fastest for Kligerman. Got him a couple of winter trophies in the trophy case from this series. And to add one later tonight.
That's 9 trucks that have run in the 29.4 second bracket. 9 of them. It's going to be tight tonight.
Boy, I like the look of this truck, the 52 of Friesen.
Good lap. He's in the green so far, just about 100th of a second to the good.
I was going to say, I like the way he wrapped around turn 1 there. Just cut it hard and was able to drive low through the center of 1 and 2. Same thing.
Oh, and that's costly.
Yeah.
He made contact, I think, with the outside wall, didn't he, guys?
Yep.
He was committed, and we picked up our first Darlington stripe. Minor damage.
But certainly plenty to slow him down to 19th when he was tracking up there inside the top 3. But probably the good news for Friesen is they don't have to go back and do a ton of repairs to that. Here's Carson Hocevar, who continues to impress, just 19 years old. Portage, Michigan. Runner-up 2 weeks ago at Bristol.
3rd place, his first time ever here at Darlington. That's a throwback to one of your team cars, isn't it, Michael? Travis Pastrana when Travis drove for you?
That's right, Phil. Travis was a lot of fun to have on the team, I'll tell you that. And Carson Hocevar is a lot of fun to be around down in the garage. Those are two personalities I think would get along great. As you watch again what happened to our buddy Stuart Friesen. Just went into a push in 3 and 4.
A little incidental contact with the outside safer barrier.
Here's Kristen Eckes. Got his first career win last September at Las Vegas.
Check out the tracker in the green.
Teammate to Ty Majeski.
How do you navigate this difficult turns 3 and 4? I was going to say the guys that have messed up have gone up high, way too high, couldn't ring the bottom. And that's just commitment on the entry. You come off turn 2 with such speed, drive down in 3. If it doesn't stick, you wind up losing all that ground off 4.
Boy, another driver getting bit at that spot as Eckes drops down to 10th.
Another driver in the 40s, too.
That make 10 now, Mike?
2 to go on the qualifying list. Here's John Hunter Nemechek. He'll be followed by Ben Rhodes.
I think this is your pole sitter.
Yeah, this is the guy you thought maybe be able to run around the flat. We've already bettered the 20 that we thought maybe might have a chance at the pole. He's a 10th and a half to the good here as he enters turn 3.
Now you got to just roll in here and make sure you can get her turned.
So good here last year, led the most laps in the spring, ended up finishing 8th, and then in the fall race here he was the runner-up. But how about that spot
in the 28s? Wow.
There you go,
doggy.
4.5 tenths of a second faster than the second closest guy to him. What a lap.
And I got some bad news for the competition.
Man,
in the long run earlier in practice today, he was by far the fastest. So John Hunter Nemechek could turn this, what has been somewhat of a frustrating season for he and that team, turn that around here tonight.
That's the deal with Majeski, who's second right now. Don't feel bad about that. You weren't quite close enough to. He got you by 4.5 tenths.
There was a lot more going on over there.
Yeah, and if you're Ben Rhodes after seeing that lap from Nemechek, I think you just go out and say, we're going to play it a little safe here. No sense hurting ourselves trying to outstretch our coverage.
Said I'm going to go. Oh, didn't get off turn 4 at all.
Yeah, that's going to be a disappointing lap for Rhodes. 15th quickest.
We talked to so many of the drivers talking about track position being important. Some of our really top competitors, Stuart Friesen, Ben Rhodes, having some issues there in qualifying, not going to get the track position for the start like they were hoping for.
Yeah, I wonder if Friesen might have to do some repair damage to his truck that could cause him even more problems.
4th career pole for John Hunter Nemechek. He'll lead the 36 from the point tonight. Back at Darlington, qualifying is complete. The lineup is set for tonight's race, number 7 of the season for the Camping World Truck Series. Ty Majeski had that top spot for quite a while, and then John Hunter Nemechek rolled that number 4 Toyota Tundra out and obliterated the field with a time of almost 4.5 tenths. Wow.
I think that makes the competitors worry a little bit, don't you?
They were already worried when they watched practice, when they looked at the results of practice, because he was very, very fast in the long run. And his youthful exuberance and his veteran experience, that's a tough combination to deal with here at Darlington.
And the pole winner is with Josh.
John Hunter Nemechek, fastest in practice, wins the pole. You feel like you set a tone. You really put a message out there with what you're able to do in the last hour.
I definitely hope so. All the guys at KBM, it's off. Hats off to them. All the guys in the Fab Shop, Rowdy Manufacturing, and this whole Ford team. We were fast here last year, like I told you, and feel like we had some unfinished business here. Didn't quite get a win, finished second, but overall, really solid. Mobile One. TRD Toyota Tundra TRD Pro. So excited to see where we can get tonight. That was one heck of a lap, I thought, and hopefully we can go school them tonight. Just lead every lap.
You set the bar so high last year that it's kind of weird to say you're flying under the radar this year because you're top 5 in the standings. But do you feel like you're flying under the radar?
We've had some really bad finishes to start the year, so I wouldn't necessarily say flying under the radar. We definitely need to get better. We felt like we've been off a little bit to start the year compared to some of the other trucks, but hopefully we can start the year this way and end on a better note than we did last year. So just don't peak too early and get everything we can get when the playoffs come and go race for a championship.
John Hunter Nemechek hoping for that first win of the season.
Yeah, he won 5 times last season, has yet to win this season, but he does have the best average run position of all the full-timers. So that gives you an indication he's running up front even when he doesn't finish up front.
Yeah, Josh mentioned that he's in the top 5 in points. He is the second most stage points to Ben Rhodes this season. So they have the speed, just haven't got to the finish in all the races. But last 3 races, top 4 finishes.
Yeah, and he mentioned, John Hunter mentioned they had a tough start to the season outside the top 20 in the first 3. But what he has done, as you said, Phil, with top 4 finishes the last 3, more indicative of what we expect from that team.
Yeah, he is not under anyone's radar down there in that garage area. They are just, I think people are just waiting for the 4 to light off, and no telling how many races he could win when it starts going the way he's been performing.
Yeah, we talked about John Hunter being 5th in the standings. As you look at our playoff standings, those in yellow, of course, have already won a race this season and secured a playoff spot. How about below that cut line, Grant Enfinger? And we got a long way to go. I mean, we're not even to the halfway point of the regular season yet, so there could be a lot of movement. But it's going to be challenging to make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, good start for the day for Grant Enfinger, the third quickest qualifying.
The lineup is set for tonight's race at Darlington. John Hunter Nemechek, the pole winner. Who's going to tame it tonight? Some drivers going to succeed. The tough task. Qualifying is complete. Ty Majeski qualified on the front row. He's with Josh.
Yeah, Ty Majeski hoping he can be the one to tame the track that's too tough to tame. How did that front row start now set you up for success tonight?
Well, track position here is huge. Really excited for the speed that our Toyota Tundra TRD Pro Farm Paint team brought to the racetrack. Joe and all the guys have been working really hard on sim, and it showed. So glad we were able to formulate some track position early on and hopefully collect some stage points and stay up front all night. Thought I hit a pretty good lap, but we were quite a bit off of the 4, so he hit a good one, and hopefully we have some for him tonight.
Thanks, and good luck tonight.
It's interesting when Ty says the guys at the shop. He's one of the guys at the shop because he works at the shop all week long and then comes out and drives it on the weekend.
Yeah, he worked full time there last year. Ran a handful of races, but yeah, he's not afraid to get his hands dirty for sure.
Well, there's that front row, as Ty mentioned. John Hunter Nemechek, the pole winner. Enfinger, Zane Smith, Corey Heim, Carson Hocevar in the first 3 rows.
A couple of veterans there on that row 5, and Chastain and Kligerman, you can see.
Great top 10 start for DiBenedetto, too. Good to see that team getting it turned around.
Our man Ty Bodine back there on row 9, ahead of Jack Wood. Now we're talking about needing to do a little work. We're going to see Stuart Friesen, Chandler Smith, Haley Deegan. All these trucks got a long way to go. And Vince, there's a short time to get there.
There is, in fact, just 147 laps. And that's going to go by pretty quickly tonight. You see the 36 that will line up and get going tonight here at Darlington. Anything change your opinion in regards to the favorite tonight? We kind of talked ahead of time. We thought it was John Hunter Nemechek. Yeah. He flexed that muscle in qualifying.
Made a statement, and I love how Ty Majeski had to say, I thought we had a good lap until we saw what John Hunter did. And I think that's going to set the tone for a guy that could be very dominant tonight. But we saw a year ago, you can lead as much as you want. When it comes down to the end, there's going to be push come to shove.
And John Hunter's not going to beat this field by half a second every lap either.
No. As you see the rest of the schedule coming up, Xfinity Series practice and qualifying, race day, and then we're going to go racing with the Dead on Tools 200 tonight. Race Hub with Shannon Spake right now.